The bright stage lights beamed down on three well-dressed figures seated at a sleek round table where an esteemed panel was prepared to delve into urgent societal discussions. Among them was Olivia Maxwell, a composed yet keen-eyed representative from New Jersey. Known for her charismatic charm, Olivia was seated across from Jordan Campbell, a want-to-be powerful senator from Texas, whose reputation preceded him as someone who played the political game with both alacrity and caution. It was a crisp evening in October, and the sleek professional backdrop reflected the somber seriousness of the topic. The quest for unity amid rising disparities in a fractured nation. Viewers across the country tuned in, hoping to see a constructive conversation unfold. The moderator, discerning and polished, initiated the dialogue with an open question surfacing around the concept of shared goals in an increasingly fissured political climate. Jordan maintained a steady demeanor as he articulated, "I believe we can find common ground if we address the fabric of our concerns honestly. There exist substantial shared issues among Americans: education reforms, public safety, and economic stability. However, political puppetry twists those issues into divisive narratives." Olivia, keen to challenge the status quo rather than merely affirm it, gazed intently at her opponent. It's easy to talk about harmony when you haven't had to navigate the biases intrinsic to our society. You uphold that perception of nationality while ignoring the influence of race within those narratives, she responded with a tone both assertive and piercing. The air in the studio shifted, thickening with unspoken tension. As the conversation seamlessly transitioned toward matters concerning healthcare and socioeconomic inequality, Olivia seized the moment, her voice punctuating the silence. How can a representative of communities that suffer speak authentically if their own reality does not reflect that of their constituents? That certainly rings hollow when those advocating policies aimed at marginalized groups dance around the volatilities of personal connection to lived experiences. The panel fell silent, absorbing the weight of her words. The moderator briefly glanced at Jordan, who maintained his composure, determined not to falter under her strike. "Are you positing that my marital choices lessen my credibility?" he asked, his voice measured, but carrying an undercurrent of disappointment. Olivia held his gaze, unflinching. "No, but you might have blind spots that come from a place of privilege, one that may shield you from the struggles of daily life faced by those you seek to represent." Her tone, although not volatile, was laden with years of frustration, a resonance felt deep within the viewers' hearts. The studio remained quiet. The weight of their exchange loomed like a storm about to break. The moderator attempted to guide them back to more mainstream political subjects, yet the moment spiraled into a tempest, igniting dialogues across public platforms. When the show cut to commercial, the intensity had risen, leaving both public figures in an air of palpable confusion about their next steps. Jordan sat quietly, arms crossed, processing Olivia's remarks that struck more personally than anticipated, all while calculating the implications this confrontation might have. The broadcast resumed, and just as the moderator asked Jordan about strategies for juvenile justice reform, he interjected, "Before we press ahead, I wish to address the previous comments." His level-headedness cloaked the ambivalence brewing within. "I married my wife, Sophie, not because of optics, but because she is a magnificent person. We fell in love outside a political spectrum," he stated firmly, as though anchoring himself before rising tides. He continued, sharing how their children grappled with their mixed heritage, navigating questions of identity amid societal discord. "I'm not here to be defined by who I love," but rather to fight for our communities with passionate integrity. Against the backdrop of critical scrutiny and silence, Olivia had begun to shift. Her defensive posture softened against the tide of her initial fervor. She replied, quieter now, "I was speaking to a bigger lens, how we all bring our experiences into policy making. We live different realities." The moderator cautiously attempted to rein the dialogue into tangible policy discussions, but something had shifted. A realization that personal narratives should never be sidelines at the expense of public persona. Once again, the air pulsed with an unfathomable weight that felt all too real. Jordan looked steadily into the camera as he expressed the inherent value of individual experiences shaping one's reality and decisions. Unity is not about masking differences or suppressing narratives, but about acknowledging them. The moment we separate personal from public is the moment we fail to progress. That brief segment of television ignited a wildfire in public discourse. Minutes later, clips of their exchange spanned social media, with hashtags evolving into trending topics. Discussions erupted in homes, businesses, and online forums. Some praised Jordan for his steady resolve, while others condemned Olivia for her stinging remarks. A cacophony of opinions surged through the nation, igniting a debate that transcended the original motive of the broadcast. Backstage, Olivia sat in a muted green room, phone in hand, processing the whirlwind she had inadvertently ignited. She could hear murmurs in the hallway, staffers whispering about the heated exchange aired on a stage that had hosted many but never one quite like this. Meanwhile, Jordan stepped through the studio's back door, greeted by reporters eager for a soundbite. He brushed past them, unfazed, heading to the car parked out front. Inside the car, his phone buzzed incessantly, a barrage of calls and messages. Mostly supportive, but some were demanding explanations and apologies. He took a deep breath, then called Sophie. Her tone was soft and warm, easing the turmoil. "I saw it. I'm proud of you, but I'm worried about the storm this is causing." She spoke gently. "I just never thought personal choices would become fodder to divide," he sighed. "She has a point, but it doesn't take away from my love for our community." Sophie listened intently, embodying the comfort they had shared for all those years, which resonated even over distance. As chaos reigned in the newsrooms and living rooms across the country, Olivia's social media team prepared her response too. Filming herself against a Texas flag, she shot a video, addressing her critics and confirming her position without backing down. This isn't about attacking families. It's about recognizing how personal relationships shape our political ideologies. If we refuse to see those perspectives, we lose authenticity. This plunge into social media created ripples across platforms, where discussions swirled like tornadoes in metropolitan areas. Comment sections turned into virtual town halls, where people from different backgrounds weighed in, strengthening her narrative and invoking solidarity among those who felt the ramifications of personal choices on a communal scale. Meanwhile, in a local pub in Austin, patrons huddled around televisions, their voices clashing as they dissected each side's perspective. Olivia's supporters rallied behind her stance, highlighting the inherent dangers of proximity and privilege, while others rallied for Jordan's humanizing rebuttal. Back in the cozy comfort of their living room walls, families turned towards one another, reflecting on love and identity across boundaries, recalling their experiences intertwined with pain. As the following week commenced, conversations waned in media, yet they prospered in private forums and within the hearts of individuals. A teacher in Washington observed her students discussing love and loyalty while the world outside became increasingly tumultuous. She encouraged them to approach such dialogues with understanding. A moment of clarity arose in their discussions. What resonates more, our shared humanity or our perceived divides? Weeks passed, and though the initial drama had faded, the issue remained prominent within the collective consciousness of the nation, whispering the truth that identity, love, and experience cannot be so easily catalogued or dissected within the political arena. Jordan and Olivia's faces appeared intermittently on screens, entangled in a saga that had raised deeper issues about the forms in which personal lives intersect with public service. In unison with their struggle, thoughts around identity, love, and acceptance emerged from the shadows into the limelight, sparking a positive call to action for a more inclusive political environment where understanding trumps division. As heartbeats of change rippled through both chambers of politics and communities, the idea dawned. Perhaps progress resides in melding our shared experiences rather than polarizing them in debate. Aided by the enriching stories shared across coffee tables, classrooms, and digital tirelessness, it seemed that finally the conversations were transforming. Despite the initial divisiveness, a collective yearning for understanding punctuated public narratives, affirming the resilient hope in human connection. Perhaps in this chapter of tumult, the stories of people, families navigating their identities, would someday become sources of strength and empowerment, shaping a nation where love and respect transcend boundaries, ultimately leading to a richer, more inclusive future for all voices within the intricate tapestry of life.